What's up? What's Gucci? We're rich.
And how to giggle. A little bit about me. I'm a woman, a survivor, a chronic pain fighter, and my hope with how I present these stories is that we walk away learning something new. I'll dig through some of what's accepted online, but our focus is in the detours, the sidebars, where we dive into areas that I don't see often covered to try and present more nuance and humanity in otherwise rage-inducing stories. So if you're into that, go ahead and hit subscribe, honey. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but we are on the road to 1 million subscribers. 1 million critical thinkers. I can't begin to thank you enough for being on this journey with me. And also, I just
we're about to hit 7K, guys.
Week after week and watch the docs, but you aren't actually subscribed. A ton of you told me that you thought you were subscribed and never realized that you actually weren't. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. I also have a second channel called Swoop 2 where we take mini dips into basically whatever the hell I want to talk about. Here we deep dive, there we dip. And you can also join our Patreon community for exclusive access to 4 more videos per month. Yes, I can't believe it either. Okay, I'm doing this, all right? I am posting 4 additional videos per month, including the exclusive Patreon-only podcast, after-school specials, and all that uncensored content that I can't post on this platform, okay? I love that for us. Okay, we're gonna dip in, but real quick, I want to talk about safety. So when I was a kid, something happened that really stuck with me. I remember walking home from school one day, and when I got to our front door, it was wide open, but thankfully the burglar had already left. But honestly, I still think about what might have happened if they were still there.
Hopefully today or tomorrow.
So important to me, and getting Simply Safe has been one of the biggest peace of mind experiences ever. So a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Simply Safe. I've partnered with Simply Safe to bring all of you an exclusive 50% security and peace of mind protection. Tap my link. Let's dive in.
Listen, TikTok, I have plans. I'm going places, and I thought you were the platform to help build me up. So bring me my people. Bring me my people who are trying to build me up, who are trying to be the followers that I need to achieve my thing.
If you've been with me for a minute, you know how I feel about family vloggers. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. But I try to be open to the conversation of finding ways for this genre to be done more safely, since we know it's never going to stop, right?
All right, so this is $1,200 to help pay for your monthly rent this month.
Me?
Yeah, for you.
Why?
Yeah, we just wanted to give it to you. And we make videos on YouTube. We have a family YouTube channel, so...
We typically see family vloggers living in beautiful mansions, peddling the latest must-have parenting gadget, the Diaper Genie 5000 with Super Deluxe Master Blaster, all along with posting about their kids' private lives for literally the entire world to view, and hiding all of the creepers out there. Charming.
First off, they're not wrinkles, they're just forehead lines. You'd understand if you smiled or had facial expressions. You'd understand. Sorry, Botox isn't my thing. I'm gonna age gracefully. I'm 30 years old. It's fine. It's gonna happen. I've had the same line since I was 13. Truthfully, it's not that big of a deal. What is a big deal is, though, you coming into people's chats just thinking that you can, devour them about what they look like, thinking it affects them and makes their day sad or whatever you think in your little pea brain of yours. It's inaccurate.
A lifestyle that she describes as, quote,
have the day you deserve, Saki.
This has led some people online to claim that they are actively choosing to exploit living in poverty for the content and using that as kind of a rage
I
bait
just realized
to
her
get
shirt
people
says
watching.
sushi
That's a
on
very
it.
delicate topic to discuss.
Upside
People sell
down.
real fast. For many reasons, I don't think that they, just like most anyone, is choosing to live in these types of conditions if they had other options available. But we'll get into all of that.
Yesterday, my kid came up to me and said, "Mom, how come adults don't celebrate their birthdays?" And I told her it's not so much that we celebrate our birthdays, it's the fact that these last few years, your dad and I have spent any extra means we have on your guys' birthdays. All of our birthdays are back to back. We like to save the funds that we have available for your guys' birthdays, which means that for mommy and daddy, there's not much left over. And my kids literally started tearing up.
But we don't want to accuse people of choosing their circumstances without knowing the full
Well, that's kind of
picture and
sad.
stigmas
Don't
around
tell
people
your
living
kids
below
that.
the poverty line.
Look, as a mom, I've had to choose between my needs or his needs, or you know, we've all, as parents, we've all had to choose, right? Make decisions. So to sit there and to say that you, sorry, I don't know why I'm whispering, like her kids can hear me, but to sit there and say that you didn't celebrate your own birthday and shit because of your kids, but to tell your kids that's gonna make your kids feel like they're in the way. Like, that's gonna make your kids feel guilt that you know what I mean? Like, legitimate guilt. Instead of being happy, that's not gonna make them feel happy. That's gonna make them feel guilt. So, to sit there and, like, that's just the neighbors, babe. But to sit there and, like, tell your kids, oh, it's because we've spent all of our money on you and we can't do things now because we spent all of our money on you and we're poor. So, like, your kid's gonna think you're poor because of them. Like, don't do that. The fuck? Like, that's just sad. You can't tell your kid that.
Are as cruel as they are unfortunately common and have no place here. So I believe that representation is good. And in America, 36.8 million people at least live in poverty, according to census.gov, which is not only staggering, but heartbreaking. I don't come from money whatsoever. I am entirely self-made. And I believe that no one deserves to live in poverty, especially children, especially when you have countless billionaires in positions of power bending and breaking the laws to benefit them. And
Right.
literally
I was poor, but my parents still had
years,
birthday
CEOs have
cakes.
made
They still had
over
birthday cards. We at
1,000
least
times more than
celebrated
typical
as a
So here's the
family.
thing. With the trends
Like,
of defluencing and
even if there was no gifts, we still celebrated. The fuck?
Problem in our country and spread education and awareness about the systemic issues that put and keep people below that income line. This type of content could potentially create a movement to help alleviate the living situation for millions of people in this country.
If they have 7 kids, they're not as poor as they're saying they
What we
are.
want to try to do next. We thought about possibly getting something
Motel or not.
We've also been considering moving out of state because there's a lot of other states that have way more affordable housing than Oregon.
And I say that it could because the Resilient Jenkins content really actually isn't focused or trying to do any of that in the eyes of most of the public. Instead, it appears Stephanie is simply obsessed with the idea of being TikTok famous, which, to be fair, a lot of people just want to be TikTok famous.
Everybody swears it's just consistency. It'll get you followers, I swear. It's not working, so I'm about ready to do some ass shaking videos. You know what I'm saying?
Well, since shaking ass wasn't apparently in the cards, what exactly has been Stephanie and Drew's path towards fame? Turning the camera on her 5 kids, exploiting them, living in very vulnerable conditions, often without beds to sleep on, and infested with fleas from the neighborhood cat, all who have no say in anything. Quote, I truly believe social media would take off for me and my family. I feel like we just haven't found our crowd of followers yet. I know y'all out there somewhere. I'll just keep the faith for the lot of us. Now, if you're tempted to feel sorry for the Jenkins in regards to people discussing their many disturbing behaviors, don't, I guess, because Stephanie wants everyone to bring it on.
So nasty, and I wasn't in a mental place to handle all that hate yet. Now come at me. Put all the hate you want in my comments. Whatever. As long as
Yeah,
it's
my
not
family
over.
either.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the hate. because apparently that's how you grow.
Now the question will be, perhaps Stephanie has known what she's doing all along, and she's played everyone, including her kids, and doing the rage bait thing to get the views, and it has worked. She's a big success now. Now, I do need to mention that one of the boys isn't Stephanie's biological son. He's Drew's son from a previous relationship. So Stephanie's parental legal rights for him are in some ways non-existent, but that doesn't stop her from posting this very vulnerable child to millions.
I've done nothing but be there for that kid.
Right.
He calls me mama. Who does he look for in the morning? Me. Who does he rely on for food, clothing? Me.
Just to put things in more like a simplified perspective, poverty is in many ways a systemic issue, and I have no intention of ridiculing anyone's income status or implying that only people with, certain incomes deserve an audience or deserve, nice things or kindness in the world. In the same breath, two things can be true. The Jenkins can be victims of a broken system while also allegedly engaging in things like years of child support evasion, rage baiting for views, shaming other mothers, joking about DV, and, potentially victimizing their children by exploiting their vulnerabilities for profit. And especially in the case of Drew, taking few steps to protect these kids when they have the opportunity to do so, because that wouldn't go viral. So let's begin with the video that started it all.
As you can read in the caption above, we're a family of 6 going on 7 living in a 1-bedroom apartment. As the kids grow older, that means we constantly have to adapt our environment to give them more means for privacy and extra space. When outside our environment appears cluttered, disorganized, what have you.
In a
It really is
1-bedroom
to
apartment.
perceive, why have so many kids if you don't have enough space for them?
I mean, it's giving a little bit of lecturing. Okay, don't judge me if you ain't me. Which fair, right? Fair. But where is the line between someone being, a judgy judgerson and someone recognizing that a situation like this is not necessarily tenable if you insist on having more and more and more kids? That's the thing with this family. They just want to keep having more and more and more kids regardless of their circumstances. And so that's the question that is commonly asked about this family. Is it responsible to continue to have kids when the 5 kids that you currently have are literally sleeping in mats on the floor in the kitchen? Yeah, we'll get to that.
Me and Drew were together way before we definitely would have more kids.
Again, I don't come from money in the slightest, and my mom worked and busted her ass off all day, every day, to keep a roof over my head. So thank you, Mom, because you're forever my hero. While there have been incredibly dark times that we have been through as a family, to say the least, I was still safer than so many other kids who didn't even have a mother and that kind of support, right? Does each kid need a safe space, boundaries instead of chaos? Yeah, they do. They need that. Do they all get it? No. It's that they don't all have it. And if that isn't provided by the parents because either they choose not to or they can't, should
Okay,
you
Ronnie, you just got in
be
here,
trying
but
to
we're
have
listening to this video.
even more kids at this moment in time?
How
Yeah.
many children do you have?
So who's putting the reacts right now?
How old are you?
21.
You have enough children, Pauline.
Yes.
Did anybody ever tell you that?
Yes.
Who else told you that?
Everybody.
So add my voice to the rest of the pack. You have enough children, there are other things to do in your spare time.
And I ask these questions because, as you'll see, there are a lot of elements to the Jenkins story where things like, buying PlayStations and playing video games take precedence over things like literally working a job or providing a bed for the kids or paying the rent or helping the mother of 5 with the household tasks.
Once again, Drew stays working his 9 to PS5 while Steph in the back doing all the work. All he's gotta do is a chore once a week and she will say he's the best dad and hubby.
So this isn't a conversation, a discourse around classism. This is a conversation about irresponsible parenting, which comes in all financial levels. Oh my gosh, there are millionaires and multimillionaires who are even worse than this, right? And then there's the whole child support issue, and we will dig into that later, but here's a preview.
I've been paying for years via garnishment. They've taken out 9-10 grand from taxes, and I let them. I didn't fight any of that. Right? If the other party hasn't received it, that is not on me. I don't have any of that money. I think I owe $6,000 is all I owe. I guess except for now, what 4 or 5 months behind. Things happen.
Things happen. Yeah, so about that. Drew actually has 6 kids. And according to Drew, he can't get a W-2 job, not because of a bad job market or any type of disability that he's named, no, because having a W-2 means the child support money, the money that he owes, the mother that he abandoned, would be taken out of his paychecks. That's why he's not getting a W-2 when he can do it, but he won't do it. So translation, this stellar father of 6 apparently doesn't want to pay child support for a kid that he abandoned and doesn't want to earn a steady income for the other 5 kids he has who are being exploited for views and profit in a way that doesn't involve a W-2, i.e. income that isn't garnished. They're not going to come out here and garnish the TikTok ad revenue. So this guy's real classy. You know, there are some cultures that rely on having multiple kids in order to run the family businesses, and
my baby daddy.
You know, pregnant by surprise or unfortunately by force. So we're not talking about that. This is a conversation around parents who acknowledge the traumatic toll that their financial situation is having on their family, but repeatedly insist on wanting to have even more kids.
Yeah, he wants more though.
For who? For whose best interest? For TikTok views? I don't know.
At the rate I'm going, I'll be to 1 million followers in 1 million days. 1 follower a day. Yay.
So let's rewind for a moment. How did we get here? Well, Stephanie's content started out perfectly normal, you know, just some lady cooking ribs. And in the early days, Stephanie looks and acts totally different.
One way or another, I'm going to have a tolerant cat.
I mean, I barely even hear the forced black scent she uses today, so bonus points for the ghost of Stephanie's past.
He's the sweetest. He's starting to get so irritated. Isn't he the best?
So, what happened? Like, well, it's no secret that parenthood is a ton of work and can be a very stressful job, especially for mothers with no support. But Stephanie herself says she enjoys being a mother and wants an even bigger family. She wants more.
I went to the doctor with my kids today, and I have 3 kids. I have the 2 girls, and then I have my stepson. I get in the doctor, and I mean, 4 people, all freaking 4 of them, have something to say about, oh, you got a lot of kids in here. You got a big crew. I mean, like, it's 3 kids, and I'm trying to have, like, 3 more. So, I'm not sure where this, like, perception of, like, it being okay to just, like, oh, you got a lot of kids, or you got, you know, got a lot on your hands. Like, just shut your mouth when it comes to, like, a mom just doing her thing, you know?
She's trying for 6 kids, but doesn't like people commenting on her big family, and then she's posting it all online for people. Got it.
I've come to the conclusion that TikTok wants to build hate. They want to create hate. Because tell me why the one video I have of me ranting and having like a little bit of a spicy attitude is getting views, is getting comments, and my videos of me and my kids dancing, me and my kids doing makeup and funny stuff, no comments. No, oh, look at you doing your mom thing, girl, build you up. None of that. It's a bunch of let's build it down.
Oh, pardon me. The black scent has entered the chat. My mistake.
So, like, why am I just getting rude old Karens in my comment section? TikTok's coming after me. Listen, TikTok, I have plans. I'm going places, and I thought you were the platform to help build me up. So bring me my people.
Don't worry. Stephanie still has
What?
a dose of entitlement.
I have a theory about the whole, like, verified users.
Okay.
People on TikTok, and just people who get a lot of followers in general. If you don't have, like, a crazy amounts of aesthetically pleasing house, and furthermore, if you don't have a house that looks like maybe you pay more than $2,000 a month for it, or rent an apartment for $2,000 or more, people don't pay attention. People don't want nothing to do with minorities.
Firstly, I am so delighted to see her
The
go to
fuck?
lower class with minorities. That's always wonderful.
I was gonna end it there, but then I was like, oh, like, I feel like I used the wrong word. I meant to say, like, a lower class, because, like, I just know people, if I even get anybody saying, and be like, yo, you said minority, like, you don't know what you're talking about, you're not a minority, like, just because I'm a white girl don't mean I didn't grow up poor as still, so...
Yeah, that actually made it worse, Stephanie. You doubled down on minorities all being poor as but at least you carved out the white part. I am so relieved. Susan, are you feeling good? Michelle, did you feel better? Okay, good, Michelle. I'm so happy.
People don't pay attention. People don't want nothing to do with minorities. I mean, because show me, because I keep seeing people that definitely deserve a following, have great talent, have amazing
Oh my
content,
god,
but
Jose.
because their house
doesn't look like they spend a lot of money on it because they don't have everything matching in their video. It's not all aesthetically pleasing. Nobody pays no mind. Nobody pays no mind.
It wasn't rewarding her the way that she wants to, so now she's calling everyone on it shallow. But like, honestly, let's face it, what is Stephanie giving that people want to consume?
Don't just watch like 2 seconds of the video, like it, and scroll on. You're shadow banning a ton of people, including more. I get no followers because no one wants to watch the full video.
I rest my case.
People who have money don't need more. People who don't have money, those are the ones who need more. And we should be supporting each other, building people up who don't have. Not people who already have. I'm sorry, but y'all don't need more.
Aside from the allegations that are actually like fact that her partner Drew is actively refusing to take a W-2 paying job because he doesn't want to pay all the back child support that he owes to the single mother he brought into this world and abandoned.
Only 3 people have hit the like button, y'all. Hit that motherfucking like button. I will sue you and your firstborn.
From their content, if it's more than hers, a notion that is diametrically
Maybe your
opposed to
second
the
born,
fact that she
too.
wants to get super famous and make money on TikTok.
Depends.
The most ironic part of this clip, she's now averaging 500,000 to like 800,000 to 1 million views per video. She is very successful now, literally proving her own shallow logic.
Glad you like that, Paul.
Surprise, there's no formula to any of this.
It makes me vomit that people are like, look at my $2 million house. Starting people everywhere but my $2 million house. Like, that will never be me. If I make like loads and loads of money somehow, which I feel like I will someday.
For your kids, please hit the like button. That's what I'm saying.
Wonderful.
Hit that like button or I'm suing your children.
Give all her TikTok money right back to the people who were watching. But aside from that, Miss Stephanie is a master
sue your kids,
manifester,
your
not just of her
grandkids.
man.
My kids will sue your kids.
My manifestation. I got my man.
And
It's
her
gonna
dream of
happen.
having more babies comes true. She gets pregnant.
Bitch, I'm always.
I mean, I'll give you this angle. I look bigger, but I mean, still.
And then after birth, she
You probably
immediately
love
began
something.
vlogging
Don't
in
fuck
front of the
around. That's
baby,
what I'm
and
saying.
no, we're
Whatever
not
you
gonna show
love,
those
I'm gonna
videos.
sue.
But I do have to mention one thing real quick, and then we're gonna move on because
Or
there's
sue
a
you
lot
for
more I
it.
want to cover that I haven't discussed nearly as much. And this, I mean,
Hit the like button.
we're talking about the allegations of Stephanie smoking on the devil's lettuce while pregnant. It was 2022.
Girl!
Was pregnant with her third
That's the
child.
worst.
She posted the
No,
following
it's not.
video. That's Stephanie
But
appearing to be blowing out
you
smoke
still probably
while
shouldn't-
pregnant
ooh.
with a hashtag that reads, quote, saw someone else do it first, hashtag medicated, hashtag nausea relief. Yeah. And here's another post that she made, mind you, of
Yikes.
her very pregnant with a caption that
Maybe
reads,
don't
quote,
post
when I'm
that.
trying to be good and microdose, but the kids are on it today.
A microdose?
I hate it here. Listen, responsible pregnant folks be
Microdose?
out here
Hold on.
avoiding
Sorry.
deli meats and fish while they're pregnant. But this woman apparently has no problem microdosing and smoking the garden with a growing bump. Now, put the family vlogger part of it
She had a
aside, 'cause
whole
I do
bottle of
see time. I
alcohol.
think Stephanie, in her way, loves her kids. I mean, she throws down in the kitchen all the time. And those kids thankfully appear to be well-fed and smiling, at least in the videos. And so I love that. I'm not going to take that away from her. Not in this economy. Are you kidding? How many
Okay.
parents there are out there who are just
So yeah,
like,
I take it back. I didn't realize what she was actually doing. That's crazy work.
in the home within the reach of these kids, or the discourse around
So
them
she had a
paying
bottle of
for the
alcohol in her
greenery
hand.
and not bed frames, or the many posts promoting self.
Yeah, how are you buying weed but your kids don't have beds?
Do you justify not only puffing greens while pregnant, but posting about it online as if it's safe
Exactly.
parenting advice? I keep saying this, just because someone has a platform where they're getting millions of views doesn't mean they should.
And
listen,
smoking
I'm not
when
gonna condemn
pregnant
people for
causes
having
low
illegal
birth
green
weight, too.
giggle, but I do think that potentially smoking in the same room as children is absolutely unhinged. Their tiny lungs, those little lungs, literally do
Yeah.
not stand a chance against that. Beyond that,
Yeah, there's a
inhaling
reason why
greenery
I was
with
making
butt
sure
in the
my
oven,
son wasn't
big
coming in
bad.
here.
According to the
And then when
National
he
Library of
was,
Medicine,
I was
quote, there is
not
evidence
smoke.
of an
Like, you
association
can't
with
just.
stillbirth, decreased birth weight, and preterm birth. And there is a concern about poor cognitive outcomes in school-age children when the mom is doing that with the bun in the oven.
Exactly.
And in some states, it's potentially crossing the line of child. Like I said earlier, it's one thing to post them every now and then, but Stephanie appears to be setting up a world where her dreams
morning,
and future happiness
Freeside. Good to
all
see
hinge on the
you.
shoulders of her kids. Quote, really not feeling good today, so I took a break from all the editing and posting. I try to keep faith, but putting so much work into my
Like, I
content to
smoke.
receive no following from the videos put
And I'm
out
off of
becomes
smoking and shit,
discouraging over
right?
time. God gave me this passion for a reason, and I do my best to keep positive about the possibilities I can possibly open up for my family. I have 20 weeks till this baby is here, and me and hubby want to provide so much more for her. Listen, y'all know I'm all on board for having creative drive, especially with that many mouths to feed, but I'm not so much on board for using the kids as collateral for that drive to be famous. Here's another post. Quote, TikTok algorithm be worse than W2ing. W2ing meaning like working a W2 job. With them low-life coworkers you watch get all the credit, because tell me why I have crap views and better content than half this app. Honest question. What half of the app has worse content than you? I genuinely would like to know so that I never wind up on that side of the internet, okay? This is enough. This is enough.
This is going to be my first PR unboxing, and I'm excited about this. So the first one we're getting open is from Devore. I'm saying that right?
You know, maybe it was God's plan, because around the time of her first PR unboxing, audiences started tuning in, and what they were noticing kept them coming back for more, and not in a good way.
I turned the filter off and clean the screen to show you all the color of the water that comes back up the drain in the middle of the night.
Ew.
See it?
Stephanie posts a lot of cleaning videos, and of course the stereotype that, you know, poor people are dirty is
She just-
absolute crock of, because it is absolutely possible to live below the poverty line and be clean. And even if somebody
bitch.
couldn't be, then also
She
why would
cooks
we
with that. I know
stigmatize
she
that?
does.
It's a option for the kids to be in either way, and by her choosing to post it online for views, people are going to have things to say about it. Like when she posted the moldy laundry flip, where she's sorting huge piles of moldy laundry to take to the laundromat, and where she says, "You can judge me." And the comments do just that. Quote, "What do you mean moldy laundry flip? How does laundry grow mold? Is that the front door? It looks like it doesn't even open all the way." So if she's posting this while complaining about views and engagement, and literally writes in the caption, "You can judge me," the question becomes, is she racking up piles of moldy laundry that could become toxic to the kids because she couldn't clean often? Or is she rage baiting for views? This is now where the discourse is. Regardless of the answer, as you can imagine, people online were extremely concerned about the safety of allowing her kids to sleep in an environment that's growing mold, and understandably so. Again, I don't know how accessible a laundry
On the
mat is for
floor.
them, but I do know that there are just messy people in the world, no matter where they are. They're just messy, okay? They could be living in the penthouse mansion and be
Yeah.
messy as crap, right? Oh, by the way, and we'll get into more of this later, but they have cats, and they were not treating the cats with flea medication, and not only did one of their cats develop a terrible skin condition for a very long time, which is point blank cruel, in my opinion, but the home was also infested with lice and with fleas.
All them little bugs.
With lice, too?
Please. This thing works. It's not chemicals or anything in your house. We've been dealing with this infestation for so long that I'm just like, I don't want chemicals in the house anymore. So whatever we have to do to get rid of them without using gross chemicals.
And while Drew has a PS5 and plenty of video games and greenery, people saw her talk about her kids not having bed frames, and how the kids sleep in the kitchen and living room, on the floor, with the fleas, next to the front door. Meanwhile, Stephanie and Drew have the bedroom. Yeah, they have the bedroom, but leave the kids out where they can not only easily get out of the house without anyone noticing, or get into kitchen appliances or nice things.
They do
sleep
suck.
in the bedroom on a very nice, lovely,
I had that shit when I was a
cushiony bed
kid.
with a frame and all.
I don't know if you're coming at it from a understanding, like
My son had that shit
when it comes to
once.
the bedroom, or if you really just don't
It's
give a
gone the
fuck,
same
because it
day.
wouldn't make
Fuck
the
that
decision
noise.
If it wasn't right for the kids.
You can't keep that
The-
shit.
The
It's not like the problem isn't getting it, because that shit happens to
I
everybody.
have no words.
The problem
I say
is
this all the
keeping
time, but I'll say it
it.
again.
Like,
I don't have
you
a
know how
problem with
gross
people posting their kids from time
it
to
is.
time.
Like,
Like a proud mom posting,
it's
the family
insane.
portrait or whatever it is.
Bro,
on
I saw your
Instagram.
life
That's
all
what
the
human
time.
beings
Yeah, I'm a
do.
mom,
That's how
bro.
human beings
Like, it's just
find
me and my
community.
kid. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
really have a
every
lot
single
going on
shred
in
of,
life
you
right
know,
now.
a
Like,
kid being
you
posted
see
in
a
their
lot
post
of
where it
me.
gets real messy, real
Plus, I
fast,
make
and none of
money
this is ever
doing
gonna
this.
stop. So we
So,
have to have, like,
I
the
mean, well,
conversations
mainly
beyond that. How do we make it
donations.
more safe, right? If you're
Because,
going to post your kids,
you know,
do
I
it
get
responsibly
copyrighted
with
for
their
the music,
safety
so
and
they
best
get paid
interest in
what
mind.
ad revenue
But
I would
when
get.
a
But
parent is obsessed
regardless.
with being internet famous, and that fame centers on and relies on routinely filming the
yeah,
kids
it's
to
easy
where
for
they're
me.
filmed constantly, I will always have
It's
concerns.
easy for
PBS
me to,
recently
like,
reported, quote, that a new study has found
just
that
have
early
time,
childhood
you
stress
know?
from things like poverty and trauma can actually change the structure of children's developing brains. Referencing the work done by
It's hard to get rid
neuroscientist
of.
Nathaniel Harnett, quote, for this study,
But we
researchers
caught
at
it,
Harvard
like, as soon
analyzed
as it
thousands of
happened, so
MRI brain scans of children
we got
ages
lucky.
9 and 10. They were able to
So,
identify small physical changes in children facing higher levels of adversity. These challenges could play a role in mental health issues later in life. They concluded that poor children are more likely to be affected. Now, I'm going to blur them, obviously, as we always try to do, but trust me, the kids are featured in most of Stephanie's content. They are not blurred or censored. And I say Stephanie not to pull, all the focus on the mom, but simply because Stephanie is the main face running the account, and Drew
now I
is
see
absolutely
why
not.
they
This
got a
is
couch.
Stephanie's quest for money and fame.
Yeah, you
and
gotta check that
virality,
shit
and
out
she
before
has
you
addressed
bring it
the very
in.
valid criticism that she gets for that.
I have an opinion nobody asked for. I respect people who are like, I don't share my kids on social media. I keep my kids' private life
Me.
private. Bro, that's your choice. But why come at the moms who don't make that choice?
Because you're
completely different.
exposing your
Why
children.
come at the
That's
moms who
why.
don't see the exploitation of their children online for profit as an issue that can jeopardize
Yeah,
their safety
exactly,
and future
Swoop.
happiness? Is this a trick question? Are we in Petty University already? Are we playing games here?
But I want to be clear that there is never, ever a good reason for posting your children online for money or fame. There is no such thing as a moral or ethical family vlogger.
That part. Let's hear some more.
My kids want to be a part of my videos.
And
They
that
feel
was
like they're
coming
on
from
TV.
one of the
They feel like
kids.
little celebrities.
They feel like little celebrities.
They feel like little
Awesome,
celebrities.
amazing,
Exactly.
Because your preschool age children know what a celebrity is and all that comes with the challenges of fame. You know who else said something like this? Ruby Frankie's sister, Bonnie. And that was after Ruby was arrested and convicted of child harm, just pointing that out.
And you can make the argument they don't have informed consent. Well, what is consent for a child? A child can't even go in for a well check without parental consent. Their consent is me.
If you want to see a full Swoop doc on that, check out the previous upload that was before this one. But back to Stephanie.
They feel like they're on TV. They feel like little celebrities. And they're being little celebrities in a safe space instead of like Nickelodeon.
Susan, did you hear that? Did she just, Christina, are you listening? Did she just refer to the internet as a safe space for the kids? Did she really? Is this what we're doing now? The internet is not a safe space for adults, let alone your 5 tiny young children who are being watched by millions of random adults scrutinizing the kids' behaviors. And some of these adults are out here calling in your kids' names and telling you how your kids should behave and all this.
If this is going to be how it continues to be, we're going to make money through social media, or that's just going to be a livelihood. It's entertainment, which that's how America's always been. That's how the world is. I feel like I'm doing my kids a disservice by not giving them a good start to that. This is their life growing up, and then as they grow up, they're going to want to start their own social medias, and I think it's going to be awesome to have their perspective too, and they'll be like, this is me all grown up, now I'm going to come prank my mom and take the video in that perspective. I think it's going to be cool.
These are what appeared to me to be the ramblings of a parent who is not only ignoring the dangers of posting your kids online, kids who are living, again, in very vulnerable and traumatic conditions. Living in poverty is a trauma. It is a trauma. But this also ignores the very complex discourse of consent. All because what? Not part of her own plan to be famous?
Okay, you're hiding your kid while they're at home. You're hiding their private life. You don't post your kid on social media. Do you take them out of the house? There's cameras everywhere. There's public. There's people.
Yep, we take them out of the house.
Children in today's world, there just isn't. I mean, yes, you keep them safe, but my kids are
You're
safe.
keeping direct eyes off of them.
And I damn sure make sure
inside my house, they're not
I
seeing
can't
my kid
actually
inside their
legitimately
own,
wrap my brain around how
you know,
backwards this
perimeter,
attempt at
you
logic
know,
is. I
their
tried,
own
although
home,
me,
their own
multiple
house, in their
perspectives, play
comfort
devil's
zone.
advocate, couldn't find
They're
it for
seeing
this
my
one.
kid
The idea that parents
outdoors,
are
in a
hiding their
store,
children by doing
at a
something very
park,
basic, like, you know, not vlogging every
you
moment of their
know,
kids' lives to total
outside
strangers is one thing.
things,
But then to
not
back that
private
logical
things.
fallacy up by saying, well,
Total
there
different
are cameras
territories.
everywhere, so what's the difference? Is the level
Huge
of
difference.
family vlogging brain rot that I was
Exactly.
not expecting, and I think this is what a lot of people
She
think.
speaks
A
my
lot
mind.
of these vloggers think this. That somehow showing the literal surroundings of where your kids live, exposing them to potential doxing, and showing the access points to your residence, the kids' names.
This
and
is why I don't
routines
show
and
my
private
house
lives,
when
which
people
encourages
ask.
strangers to form parasocial bonds with them.
Yep.
You're saying
That's why I don't show
somehow
him on camera,
with
because
the
you all
nameless
form
child, you're just, I
parasocial
don't know,
bonds with
running
me.
across the
Imagine
frame
with
of a
my child.
grocery
You already
store
asked his
CCTV,
name.
where someone's,
All
they're
these
taking
things.
a selfie at the park, and there's like some kids in the background that no one can identify. Just what are we talking about? What are we talking about here?
She's spoken.
Steven,
Oh,
do
right
you
there.
know?
That right there is
Yeah,
exactly
I don't
why I
know
don't
either,
show my
alright?
child.
But to be fair, as much as it pains me to do this, because I am a bitch with opinions, and most of the time I just want to shout my
Exactly,
opinions
Pop.
with an unhinged level of petty, and I am allowed to do that because the name of this channel is Swoop, and I don't have to apologize for that. This is a Swoop Doc, and my goal and what our community does so well is to try to
I love her.
diffuse some of the echo chambers and selective outrage.
You have the same
in
tattoo.
stories.
That's
We look at
awesome.
different perspectives, point, counterpoint. And it's just the more that I see the world falling apart around me, it's absolutely just falling to everywhere. The more
Dude,
it makes me want to try
long
to find ways to
before
bring
I
more
had a
human
child,
elements to these
I knew
otherwise
exactly what I
disturbing
would and
stories,
wouldn't do
even if
along
it
those
sucks
lines.
to do it, but my
Because
gosh,
I would watch the family
I'm trying.
vloggers.
So
I
Stephanie makes this
saw what
point
would
about cameras
happen,
being
like in
everywhere,
comments and
respectfully.
shit.
That point is bullshit, but
I made
her
my mind
words
up
about
then.
social
That would
media
not be
being
my
everywhere
kids'
brings up a
life. They would
valid
not be on
counterpoint to
camera.
how
They
we've
would
talked
not
about this quite
have
bit.
a
We
camera
live
in
in a
their
time where
face,
social
just
media
them
followings have
crying.
become crucial
Like,
to people,
just
getting
even the
jobs
show
when
Teen
their
Mom was
social
so
media.
exploitive
It's
to
what
those
I have
kids. They
long
were
since
sitting there
called
crying,
social
getting their
currency.
asses
Kids are literally
changed
being ranked in
on
schools based off their
cameras.
TikTok followers.
Like,
Employers are looking up
they're
your
on
Instagram to
camera.
decide if they want
Like,
to
it's
hire
crazy.
you to work at a bank or, to pump gas.
Like, you
So,
can't do
good
that.
luck getting a babysitting gig if you have something online that a parent doesn't like. It's not only leading the future, but it's leaving people behind who don't have access or interest in posting stuff online. Social media is powerful in the right hands and absolutely dangerous in the wrong hands. And because part of a parent's responsibility is to set their children up for success, how do you do that if you keep them from building success on social media?
Exactly.
If you have the audience to do so, does that increase the kid's chance of being left behind in an increasingly AI-run world that is obliterating jobs everywhere? If we look at like Beyonce for a moment, y'all know I respect the hell out of me some Beyonce. Okay, any woman, especially a black woman who can survive and thrive in the most diabolical industry of all time, deserves her flowers. But her 13-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy, is on tour with her, is walking red carpets, wearing the gowns, and has a massive online presence. So that's Beyonce and Jay-Z's way of setting her up for success. So then the question could be asked, well, what's the difference? I mean, I would say the difference is we're not seeing, Beyonce's not flogging all of these personal, private, intimate, living moments of Blue Ivy's life. But, then the people who are like, well, but it's still the kid, the child actors, you get in all that conversation, right? Yes, Blue Ivy is hopefully protected by better labor laws and security, but she's still 13, and people are sexualizing her and doing all of the most deplorable things you can imagine. So, yeah, is that situation a problem? There are child stars, actors, musicians, models. Is that a problem? What about children battling illness, where posting about their story brings more awareness to finding cures and raising desperately needed funds to pay the medical bills? If the family can't afford that child's health care. I don't know what the answer is, and I don't think any of this is black and white, but let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I mean, I know where they're at when they leave this house, and I damn sure make sure that they're safe.
At the time of posting this, Stephanie says they only get 200 to 300 views, but at the same time, that social media is her livelihood. That means her livelihood relies on her children's unpaid labor and the fact that they're living in vulnerable conditions. That's why people are tuning in.
And I do get that people do that creepy stuff where they pinpoint your location based on your video, but who's seeking me out? Who's seeking me and my family out? I get 200, 300 views if I'm lucky.
That is such a deeply troubling way of looking at this. For one thing, she's hell-bent on being famous. So as her account grows, that literally widens the cesspool of people trying to find her location. And spoiler alert, they succeed later on. And it doesn't matter how many views you get, it only takes one sick, twisted viewer to form an attachment and become a serial harasser or stalker. They are everywhere. And further still, what happens when other kids at school see their private lives? And what happens when a random adult out there recognizes one of the kids and approaches them? What happens when the kids start to read the comments? This is dangerous, in my opinion. Nevertheless, Stephanie's mission paid off because she is officially out of the 200 to 300 view jail, and her videos have taken off. So bravo, the plan worked. Slow clap for that.
Oh no, now it's saying she's driving. Came and saying his own name.
Stephanie and Drew set up an Amazon wish list for people to buy them things.
We're not funding your lazy ass. And I don't know if you heard their
I'm
line,
gonna
but he
snack.
says fuck too, so we know he doesn't want to work. So why are we giving into this? A steam cleaner? Okay, valid. She gotta clean her house. She is crusty, musty, dusty.
And people have bought them a lot of stuff.
Oh my god, 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 oh my god.
Some kind souls even bought the kids a bunk bed. Not the Curb Your Enthusiasm thing song. Okay, sidebar with me real quick. The Jenkins regularly get accused of dry begging, so what in the hell is that? At its core, dry begging is indirect solicitation, hinting or complaining in a way that pressures others to offer help, gifts, or resources. Unlike direct asking, which requires vulnerability and courage, dry begging operates in the murky waters of implied need. It's kind of like the difference of asking, like, could you help me pay my rent this month because things are tough, versus someone lamenting like, oh, how will I ever be able to pay rent? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Right? The key difference? The former is explicit and accountable, while the latter leaves the burden of interpretation and action on the listener. Dry begging often walks the thin line between expressing genuine need and subtly manipulating others into offering assistance. Now, it's important to note that most of the time dry begging is not done out of malice, but rather, out of fear of rejection if someone asks, directly for help. But sometimes it is intentional manipulation. Sometimes it's subtle, like mentioning how a pot isn't big enough to feed your family of 7.
Let's make some slow cooker pot roast. You're gonna see in this video we definitely need to invest in a bigger slow cooker because it's just not working for the lot of us.
And other times it's more blatant, like posting your kids online to millions as a prop. Now, I don't know for sure if Stephanie and Drew are doing this intentionally, and I'm not going to condemn. I'm one of those, suckers who would be tempted to give to the kids, but, it is a slippery slope. Once they see how many, free things they get from posting sad videos of their kids in vulnerable conditions, why not do it again and again and again? But the public isn't reacting the way Stephanie hoped. The public is enraged by this and say anyone who gives is enabling their terrible behavior. And at this point, it's definitely possible it's enabling, right? And so on and on they go with this rage bait cycle.
If both of y'all would get out and work W-2 jobs and do your social media, y'all could have the world. And you can't say that you aren't making money, Stephanie. You're monetized on TikTok with subscribers, Facebook with subscribers, and Instagram.
Listen, I totally get the outrage over the W-2 jobs thing. I have no idea if Drew is even really looking, especially when he says like this about good available jobs.
Union jobs pay well, yes, but it's sacrificial to your life.
I did a union job for about 13 years.
Trucking's good. Trucking's good. I don't know. I don't like sitting in a truck. I don't like sitting all day. Truckers get fat too, especially working 18 hours a day.
Real winner attitude there, bro. But to be clear, she's wildly successful now on TikTok and Facebook, so she's probably making more money per month than a lot of hardworking families, which is why we're covering this story now. I don't want stories like this to stigmatize everyone else out there who is struggling. I know jobs can be hard to come by for people who are desperately hunting. So for a moment of perspective, to just kind of like zoom out to a worldview, I do have to ask the question, is this where we're headed across the board, where billionaires get richer, Jobs are getting just wiped away with AI. Tariffs make everything way too effing expensive, so people have to maybe then resort to dry begging on the internet to make ends meet. Is this where we're headed? Let me know what you think.
The number one factor as to why people are saying there are two loving parents in the household is because the mother is not black. The fact that you have a father in the household and that he won't work because he's saying he doesn't want a W-2 job, all of that just entails that he doesn't want to work because he owes child support. His baby mom came up. He has a 12-year-old. He owes child support. He don't want no regular job because they're going to garnish his wages. It's really sad, to be honest, because as women, we need to do better in thinking that, oh, just because we have a man, like, we're winning. You're not winning. Like, she's not winning. There's nothing good about having a man in that household. The wish list y'all want us to pay for your car detailing business. Get a job. Nobody cares about helping people when they are trying. They're not even trying. Y'all got 4 cats in there and it's dirty. Get a job.
Before we get into Drew, I'm asking just to like shift our perspective for a quick second here. Obviously, you can see that Stephanie is a white woman and Drew is a black man, and in my opinion,
Some
that
cunt
does
ass
come into
billionaire.
play in the way that some people discuss them and some of the language that I've seen used specifically about him that I think is completely unacceptable. And yes, I'm talking about very direct racist words that I've seen, but beyond that,
Say what you need to say. If you feel like you need to say something, say it.
Drew not working a W-2 is slammed as being lazy, which I get it. Trust me, I get it. But I want to be mindful that when people call a black man lazy out there in society, there is a nasty history in our society of throwing that label at black men just across the board, period, no matter who they are. Not to mention the sensitive topic that Drew is absent from his oldest child's life and the stereotype that black fathers, just all abandon their children when that really happens in every color household all over this country. So I'm going to do my best to lay out the facts and not perpetuate the stereotypes that black fathers live with, because they are not all a monolith, and black fathers, the ones that I know, would literally lay down their lives for their family in a second. They're incredible. So yeah, Drew is just Drew. So we'll start with this question. Drew, my man, what the actual while Stephanie is carrying the mental and physical load of taking care of the family, what's Drew doing? Well, he apparently tried to start a car detailing business where he only details rims, and Stephanie jumped in to help with marketing. But surprise, surprise, Drew only lasted a few seconds before pulling out. Give or take. Now, in the gig economy, you often have to work way more hours to make ends meet, and I mean no disrespect to all the gig workers out there when I say, Drew, what the actual and yes, that's him driving a car that has color-changing gamer lights on the dashboard because video games. Drew likes to play his video games a lot. Now, to be fair, everyone deserves me time and a hobby, but of course, prioritizing those things over basic necessities and family is where it crosses the line, especially when it puts your partner in additional stress. It's a sad fact that in the vast majority of what Stephanie does post, if Drew is there, he's playing video games while she is continuing to do the 4 C's, the cooking, the cleaning, the childcare, and the content. Like, you literally hear him on his game in this clip.
I'm gonna get ran over.
The unfettered rage that I would feel if I worked my ass off taking care of literally everything while holding a new baby only for my partner to be gaming. And the comments agree. Girl, you are a single mother, just letting you know.
Yeah.
Drew's gaming and the kids have to help you with the stroller. And here's some food for thought. Struggled to buy diapers that our son didn't break out wearing. Also troubling and kind of heartbreaking that Stephanie has indicated that she doesn't like this. Like when she posted, quote, low-key will never understand full-grown men playing video games over spending time with family. And right there is where it gets sticky for me. My compassion kicks in, okay? I can't help it. I know people want me to drag this family vlog all the way down to the bottom of the steps of the cesspool, and with good reason, for a lot of things, but I think there's a lot of indicators to suggest that while Stephanie might be exploiting the kids for content, and maybe some of that is just out of desperation and she's just not using her brain, but maybe Drew is exploiting Stephanie at home.
I love my partner and I don't want to say nothing negative about him, but it wouldn't hurt him to say he has appreciation for me every now and again, to tell me that he finds me attractive, but that just seems like it's nigger on his tongue or something. So I gotta know, like, is there other women who can relate to this? Like, does your man not ever tell you you're attractive and you just kind of have to assume he's still attracted to you? And I mean, I know we're tired, we got kids, we have a life, but isn't like in our 30s a little bit young to just barely have a sexual life? Like, something's off, yo.
And that's what makes it all the more heartbreaking, at least in my opinion, when I see her posting things like this, quote, "Can't wait to get this man a little gaming spot one day with a comfy chair and not a broken headset. He's about to turn 35 in a few days and I got shish for him, just gonna cook my heart out for him." It feels like she's in this position, whether, subconscious or not, of having to constantly please her man and provide for him. And I don't actually think that's her fault. I'm willing to guess it has something to do with what she's been through in the past, which we'll get to later, and insecurities. And it's also something that we know a lot of partners can feel, especially a lot of women can feel when they're in a partnership with a man who is doing next to the bare minimum. And by next to the bare minimum, I mean it takes him a little energy to play those video games. Otherwise, he would be doing the bare minimum.
I can say I really do know every occasion he's told me I'm attractive or I'm beautiful, because I pay attention to that stuff that means a lot to me. And it's been 3 times in the past 3 years, so...
Imagine your partner only saying you're pretty once a year.
And I don't know, but for me personally, when you have a woman in your life, and especially when you have one who struggles with really bad anxiety and self-confidence issues, talk the girl up every now and again. It's not gonna kill you. It's just not gonna kill you, man.
For real, how many of us have tried to please someone who didn't really truly love and respect us? It's a vicious cycle that I wouldn't wish on anyone. She buys him things, cooks, cleans, hoping that he'll one day show her an ounce of appreciation, and when he does, once a year, it fuels her to start the process all over again to earn his praise.
I gotta
and
go.
I think that's sad. I don't like this woman. I think she's done some very questionable things. You know how I feel about the family vlog.
Nah, for
She's
real.
about to do some... I can never look the other way around. And at the same time, just in this part of the story, I gotta have some compassion for this situation that she's
This
in.
poor
'Cause she's
girl,
stuck,
bro.
man, she's stuck. But at least Drew had no problem with her spending her hard-earned money to buy him a PS5 complete with gamer lights and a headset. What a lucky guy.
Right.
I've been so quiet about so much because I'm just not the type. I don't want extra drama.
In the wonderful world of
Yeah,
Drew,
we've all been there.
Regular W-2 job ain't worth it. Why? It all comes down to child support. Enter Arlene.
Oh, God.
And one of 3 mothers of his many offspring.
But he decided to call my mother on this bold weekend because a lot of people are trying to figure out.
Did you DM me?
People trying to figure
Hold
out
up.
why he left me. No,
It just went off.
But I digress.
Hold up.
So
It just went off.
was,
This is when I clicked in, it went off. It didn't go off prior.
I don't think I can do this.
I am so salty. At least it was just a few minutes. Oh my God.
He made it loud and clear that he didn't know if he can have a relationship with his son.
That is some of the worst shit that I have heard in a while. Because Arlita didn't want to encourage his shittiness, Drew decided not to be a father at all.
That man, that everybody's saying they have 2 loving parents, walked out of his son's life when he was 2. Haven't seen his son since he was 5, and that's because I reached out to him to come to his kindergarten graduation. Even his son asked, "Mommy, I just want to know my dad. Why can't I see my dad?" Mind y'all, when that happened, I reached out to him. He read the message, never replied.
This is absolutely heartbreaking. Obviously, I don't know her, but Arlita seems like an incredible mom, a very strong woman supporting her son through the pain that Drew has caused, and they deserve so much better. Now, we played a snippet of Drew's public response to Arlita's claims earlier, where he literally can't even show his face, by the way. But let's listen to a little bit more, shall we?
I've been paying child support via garnishments ever since I can remember. I worked out with W-2 since I was 18, 19. Never made above 22 an hour.
Work jobs that works your body to the bone and...
Yeah, I worked retail, I worked overnight, I worked at Home Depot.
So he was paying via W-2 garnishments and shocking, behind on the payments.
I think I owe $6,000 is all I owe, which most of that got taken care of last year, and everything else is via garnishment, except for now, because I haven't gotten, I guess except for now.
Good morning, Mr. Happy.
What, 4 or 5 months behind? Things happen.
Then he goes into blaming his kids for why they didn't have bed frames and sheets.
We bought, quote unquote, bought foam toppers for our kids. They had frames, they had mattresses, sheets, pillows, the works. They hung on everything and bent everything and broke it and tore it down, and
Kids are destructive. They're especially hard to girls.
Somehow they bent the hell out of the metal frames and all that, making it more or less a hazard. So we had to remove from the house, and then they tore up their sheets and bed covers and all that.
Then they both make odd excuses about getting a W-2 to support the family, as if all W-2 jobs are a health hazard.
And people say, yes, get a W-2. I would love to get a W-2 that paid me decent enough. But getting a W-2 at 18...
Why does it just gotta be about the page? Why does nobody consider the health aspect? That most of these W-2 jobs are sucking the life out of you. Why doesn't that matter?
And then, perhaps my favorite part, where Drew says he doesn't want to work because he wants to be around his kids, where he also doesn't apparently spend time helping around the house, and his own new wife is saying that he spends more time playing video games than with the family.
That's the thing. I want to be here for my kids. I don't want a job to suck the life out of me. So I'm coming home. I'm going to work hating my job. And I'm hating my life because I felt my job is sucking the life out of me.
Oh yeah, let's not forget the part about jobs causing pre-diabetes.
Probably say, get a second job. I've had second job, and this is why I am pre-diabetic and on heart medication.
Now, Arlita's response to Drew, scathing.
This is the recent affidavit I received, right? So if you've been paying what you said you've been paying, Andrew, why do they need this? Do you want me to send you the message that I sent you back in August with the affidavit? You cluck. I could pull up all. I don't care how many jobs you had. You never stayed at one. And when he was getting a little itty bitty bit, he wasn't getting much. I remember getting in my account that from the state of Oregon, they sent me 5 cents. They sent me 5 cents. You ain't paid much. Sit up there with that. You got that. I will air you.
5 cents. Yeah. Now, Arlita goes on to claim that Drew hasn't paid anything since 2017, which brings us to child support evasion. It's a story that feels all too common. One parent left to shoulder the burden of raising the kids, struggling to make ends meet with little to no help from the other parent, and just like Arlita, and greater likelihood to be living below poverty. Among custodial mothers with one child who had a parent living outside their household, 18.7% were in poverty. The poverty rate increased to 29.2% for those with 2 children and 50.8% for custodial mothers with 3 or more children in their custodial family. Maybe a more useful tactic would be a job placement program that could, support Drew in finding gainful employment, although I don't know that he would take advantage of that. And I'm just wondering, is that just wishful
He definitely would
for someone
not.
clearly taking advantage of the system and several women? Oh, and remember again when Stephanie defended vlogging her kids and said that her kids are completely safe?
And I do get that people do that creepy stuff where they pinpoint your location based on your video. But who's seeking me out? Who's seeking me and my family out? I get 200, 300 views if I'm lucky.
The internet has done one of the worst things that it does, and after a recent move, which we will cover later, someone decided to dox them, which is a horrible shit thing to do to anyone, and I will never condone anyone doing that, nor will I condone
At least you're honest about it, for real.
when you don't know a situation.
I mean, your
Even if you
situation's a
hate
little
the
different, I
parents,
guess.
You gotta start thinking about what you just did to the kids' safety by doxing the kids. But because of that,
all doing weird stuff like doxing them and
doing that. I don't condone the doxing. I don't, because there's kids involved. But it helps
Just because there's kids involved.
because I was able to have him served.
Stephanie responded in the caption of a TikTok video, because she's TikTok famous now. I refuse to let all this hate blind the fact that we've done nothing but put our kids first with every choice we've made, including the bedroom, which we do not need to explain to anyone. It's our home, not yours. Drew is the furthest thing from a deadbeat father. Staying involved in a child's life when every bit of that involvement is controlled by the other parent in the matter makes it incredibly difficult for an individual to stay involved in that child's life. Cue the old "my ex is preventing me from seeing my kid and paying child support" line, and ironically, it's allegedly Drew and Stephanie that are preventing Drew's second oldest son from seeing his other mother, the third baby mama.
You literally gave yourselves away. Like I told y'all back in October, nobody knew where he was until you, Stephanie, decided to put y'all living situation out there for people to see. And then I came out.
And of course, Stephanie, the TikTok fame-chasing family vlogging mother, accused Arlita of clout chasing.
For you to sit up here and say that I'm monetizing off of you when you simply exposed yourself and said you want to go viral, that's on you.
But after that, Stephanie posted this.
And then you hate on me for Drew and his baby mama drama, which also, again, has not shit to do with me. That was his past, not mine.
Now, recently, Drew has decided to start his own social media, posting him allegedly cooking, but there's speculation that it's also just Stephanie filming for him. And I don't know what's worse, honestly, Stephanie doing even more work for Drew, or that Drew's content portrays him as a great father seeking applause for doing the bare minimum, or should I say the bare minimum, okay? That's now a new swoop coined phrase. It's now men doing the bare minimum. There's a reason women choose the bear. But let's look at this post where she praised Drew for working extra hours just to come home and watch Netflix while she continues to manage the house and kids without him. Or when we watched her deep clean the home literally days postpartum, days after giving birth. So I have to ask, even though I don't agree with what Stephanie is doing with the vlogging, and I don't believe her to be a very honest person in a lot of situations, in the interest of giving grace to a mother raising kids in a vulnerable situation, trying to make ends meet, is Drew equally providing, or is Stephanie really just another single mother on her own? Because if Stephanie is potentially being exploited by Drew, and I believe she is, it's a situation far too common in unhealthy relationships. So then the question today expands not just
Wow,
from
you look cool.
who's protecting the kids from exploitation, to who's protecting Stephanie. Even with the vlogging, the substance use, the kids on the floor, does she deserve protection? And what might be the reason why she doesn't just take the kids and leave? Get ready, because this story is about to get a lot darker and might bring a different perspective into the resilient Jenkins. Unfortunately, in cases like this, there's almost always a darker backstory, and Stephanie is no different. I know that this topic is avoided a lot when people talk about this family, but once I found this, it was impossible for me to ignore this, as I suspect it plays some sort of role in why Stephanie stands by Drew, even when most of the internet shames her for doing so. Heads up, for this section, I'll be referencing DV and essay, but there will be nothing graphic. For context, Stephanie refers to Drew as her husband, but in reality, she's actually still legally married to her ex. Her ex that is currently incarcerated. A man that, after I personally read the charges, might be one of the most horrible pieces of type of SA registered offenders I have seen in a very long time. Now, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to show his photo or show the charges. They are incredibly disturbing, involving minors from as young as 7 all the way up to his own mother. Yeah. His own mother. Long story short, his horrific crime started in 2010 when he was 15 years old and he was officially added to the SO registry. Stephanie married him years later in 2015, and after committing another horrific SA and kidnapping in 2019, he was finally thrown in prison to rot for a very long time, exactly where he belongs. This is the type of monster that if he were still out, he would become not just a serial R-wordist, he would probably become even worse and be taking lives. I firmly believe that. This is who she was married to. And Stephanie has 2 children with him, okay? It's heavy, heavy. Now, unfortunately, some people online took his photo and info and plastered it all over Stephanie's page and in her DMs, some of whom went so far as to shame her for his crimes, which, in my opinion, is an incredibly up thing to do. The fault and shame lies on the monster who is behind bars, not his, at the time, 20-year-old wife.
You're not doing any frickin' favors pulling up the history of my ex and what I've been through with that. I've done my best to be quiet about this, but this is quite frankly not okay. You don't understand the situation. You don't know why I'm still married to him. You have no idea what I went through with that mother. The only reason I don't speak on it is because you have no idea how triggering that situation actually is. Ever since I went viral and people can't stop bringing up his freaking name, I've had nothing but PTSD nightmares. Now, maybe you don't understand that. Maybe you've never had somebody wake you up in the middle of the night to do whatever they want to you. The time I try to go to work and fight him, something has been not lining up and hasn't done in my favor. I've done it multiple times. I honestly...
Wait, hold on. I missed what you said. No, not you. I heard you. I missed what she said I meant. Damn. Stop. Oh my god, now it's still playing. Oh shit, it's the same story. Yeah, that's weird. In fact, wait, what? Wait, what's slightly darker than the previous one? I'm so confused. I missed it about her husband. Okay, I'm typing a message and I'm totally missed it. Hold on. Let me finish this and then yeah. Because I cannot type and think at the same time. Because I'm thinking as it is. Please what? What are we pleasing me for? And then I find the remote in 3 seconds. Literally 3 seconds.
and might bring a different perspective into the resilient Jenkins. Unfortunately, in cases like this, there's almost always a darker backstory, and Stephanie is no different. I know that this topic is avoided a lot when people talk about this family, but once I found this, it was impossible for me to ignore this, as I suspect it plays some sort of role in why Stephanie stands by Drew, even when most of the internet shames her for doing so. Heads up, for this section, I'll be referencing DV and SA, but there will be nothing graphic. For context, Stephanie refers to Drew as her husband, but in reality, she's actually still legally married to her ex that is currently incarcerated. A man that, after I personally read the charges, might be one of the most horrible pieces of type of SA registered offenders I have seen in a very long time. Now, I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to show his photo or show the charges. They are incredibly disturbing, involving minors from as young as 7 all the way up to his own mother. Yeah, his own mother. Long story short, his horrific crime started in 2010 when he was 15 years old and he was officially added to the SO registry. Stephanie married him years later in 2015, and after committing another horrific SA and kidnapping in 2019, he was finally thrown in prison to rot for a very long time, exactly where he belongs. This is the type of monster that if he were still out, he would become not just a serial R-wordist, he would probably become even worse and be taking lives. I firmly believe that. This is who she was married to. And Stephanie has 2 children with him, okay? It's heavy Now, unfortunately, some people online took his photo and info and plastered it all over Stephanie's page and in her DMs, some of whom went so far as to shame her for his crimes, which, in my opinion, is an incredibly up thing to do. The fault and shame lies on the monster who is behind bars, not his, at the time, 20-year-old wife.
You're not doing any frickin' favors pulling up the history of my ex and what I've been through with that. I've done my best to be quiet about this, but this is quite frankly not okay. You don't understand the situation. You don't know why I'm still married to him. You have no idea what I went through with that motherfucker. The only reason I don't speak on it is because you have no idea how triggering that situation actually is. Ever since I went viral and people can't stop bringing up his freaking name, I've had nothing but PTSD nightmares. Now maybe you don't understand that. Maybe you've never had somebody wake you up in the middle of the night to do whatever they want to you. The time I've tried to go to court and fight him, something has been not lining up and hasn't been in my favor. I've done it multiple times. I honestly cannot grasp how many women are the ones coming at me like this. I can't, bro.
Now, Stephanie is far from perfect. I think she should stop posting her kids. The devil's lettuce thing was atrocious, and I'm absolutely livid about what she's done regarding some cats, which we haven't even gotten to. But there is no such thing as a perfect victim, and after surviving DV and SA from her own husband, as she claims, there is additional context and perspective into who she is. Being in a DV relationship is a life-altering, traumatic, unimaginable thing to survive, and it doesn't leave you. Trust me, I know to my core it stays with you, and I can carry a lifetime of pain that processes mentally, emotionally, and physically in ways that you don't see coming, and it might not process anytime soon. It might take a long time, and I think survivors, even
No, there were. So she's married to the guy. She's not married to the guy she's with. The guy in jail is the one that she was married to.
It's too much, right? It's too much. And people will be like, oh, and I've seen people say, oh, you're making this up and everything. I cannot see a world where knowing what that man, that monster, has done to so many, again, ages 7 to his own mother, there is no world where I can fathom that a woman, a young woman, 20 years old, there's no world where I can fathom that she is married to that monster, winds up having 2 kids with him, and she's not being essayed or abused in some way.
He essayed his
there's
own
no
mother.
way that I would ever think anything other
Almost
than, of course she
7K
was.
deliver your
Of
truth.
course he was a monster to her as well, right? Now, I know, again, there's some people online who blast her with shame about marrying this monster and having kids with him, claiming that she knew his crimes all along, that she's co-signing what he did to his victims, but I just keep coming back to the fact that she, too, is his victim, and I'm trying to be mindful of that. In an interview with creator Slay with Alicia May, Stephanie's mom, Reese, came forward to give her perspective about Stephanie and Stephanie's ex.
My name is Reese, and I have 6 children, 6 adult children. Stephanie is number 3, very close to all my other children. I spend a lot of time with my other grandchildren. It's strange that, you know, when it comes to Stephanie, there's this kind of disconnect, this discord, and it's been hard to watch it happen. I love my daughter. I love her very much, but man, this crap is just going
Her and her mom
Just
sound
to be
exactly
clear,
the
Stephanie
same.
and Reese have had major battles with each other, and they have unfolded online. Stephanie, from what I can tell, cannot stand her mother, has accused her of all kinds of things. Her mother is... It's a whole
Road to
mess.
10K.
We're not
eventually.
getting into that. I have several reservations about Reese. I'm just including some clips for some more context.
Oh my gosh, it's really hard to talk about this and not... I'm trying so hard not... I don't want to put Stephanie in a bad light, you know what I mean? I'm trying really hard. The last thing I want to do is create more hate for Stephanie. She's been through it. She's been through a lot. Her first marriage was a situation where she met this person. He had told her, you know, that he wasn't... That, yeah, he was a registered... He had her convinced that all of it was stuff that... And that he told her that all that
Nearly
stuff was stuff he'd
identical.
been accused of, but nobody could really prove. And that he comes from a really, really large family.
Except
and it was
Stephanie
like,
has that bit of a black scent to her.
But
like she just like fakes like that black accent. Like she just does. I'm taking that from Swoop's words, not mine.
Thing is, I have no idea what Stephanie's mental state was when she met him. None of us do. Her mom discusses Stephanie allegedly starting, you know, the devil's lettuce when she was a teen, and Stephanie has indicated that she may have come from a harmful home.
I've gotten a lot of questions like, how did you parent her? What was your parenting style like? What was her childhood like? And I've been really transparent with the fact that I was not a perfect mom. I had my own issues. But probably the thing that affected us the most is the fact that I raised my kids in a Christian church, very much, you know, you spank your kids, you do this, you don't let them do that, you don't, and that is...
so that's the problem.
I don't even think that is the trauma she talks about, honestly, because I never... my children, you know what I mean? It's not... So it's really hard for me to understand what trauma she's really speaking of. I think it more relates to the fact that, like, when she was around 16, her and I really started butting heads. It was probably from that point on that we seemed like we couldn't get along for nothing.
Now, aside from the fact that I can't stand that Reese often uses quotation marks when she says trauma, Stephanie's trauma, because I don't, what are we doing? Maybe she does have trauma. According to Reese, the repercussions of this dark situation rippled down to her siblings.
And when she first brought him to my house for me to meet him, they'd been together for about 3 months before she brought him over to meet me. What really pissed me off is that she brings him to my house. Her brothers at that time were 7 and 8. And you know the age of the child he's been with. She didn't tell me that this man had this about him. And she brought him to my home with her younger brothers. So that was the beginning of this really hostile relationship between me and Stephanie.
That's horrible. If that's true, that's terrible. If Stephanie did, in fact, know about his crimes, then bringing him around other kids is absolutely unacceptable and against the law, and raises questions about her judgment skills when it comes to protecting young ones. Now, to be fair and play devil's advocate, even if I hate to in this, again, we weren't there, the cameras weren't rolling, and we don't know her life when she was 20 and dating a literal monster. Her brain literally wasn't even fully developed then, and we don't know when his alleged abuse on her started. It could have started immediately when they met each other, okay? That happens. I just listened to a story that we've been following. This girl, Kayla, has been sharing her story, and it started like damn near day one with this guy, and it just f***s with the brain. It can f*** with your brain She was in a relationship with him for 9 months. It's the most heartbreaking thing that I've seen in a while. And there's no shame, there's no blame on her, even if he started to do something to her within the first day, because it can just get in that brain and do all kinds of things, especially if you were coming into it in a vulnerable position in the first place.
You hate on me for somebody that I married, which if you knew anything about how I was grown up, you might understand why I didn't even know how to read that about that kind of person. But that's not my thing to carry around. He made those terrible decisions. That's him. That doesn't make me who I am.
So all I do know is that I think this brings some potential context as to why Stephanie embraces the life that she has now, why she's chasing fame and validation of a man, and that she might feel that as bad as her situation might be with Drew, at least she and her daughters are away from the convicted monster. The father of her 2 kids is literally a monster behind bars, so maybe possibly the bare minimum that Drew does to her feels like she won the lottery in comparison.
And all of a sudden, she had trauma from me. You know, that's when she started bringing all this up. All this trauma she's had and all this abuse from her childhood, almost as if she has to use that to justify the fact that she doesn't want me in her life, but it's because the person she's with doesn't want me in her life. And now we're seeing it all over again with Drew, where it was a very subtle but gradual process that happened, and all of a sudden she's cutting me out of her life, but she's saying I cut her out of my life. It's the other way around.
A common tactic with DV is isolation, and Reese goes into detail about how the monster isolated her from her family and how Drew has done the same.
And I mean, I don't know how much more proof you need that this man wasn't gonna do anything for you except for keep your world small and keep you from being able to ever do for yourself.
So for all Stephanie talks about finding her community online, maybe there is more to that. Maybe subconsciously, in a way, she loves having babies so much because she's literally in this place of desperation to build her own community. Those types of things can happen in trauma response, right? Could her drive for TikTok fame also be related to her longing for validation in her small world where men have drained the life from her? And I think that's what Drew's doing. Yes, she is a grown woman now and has done some big bad things and posted online, and she has to face the responsibility of her actions and how that affects her kids. She's grown now. She's got to be thinking about that.
You love your daughter and you love your grandkids. Right.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think this is a good situation. I don't think that, you know, opening the front door and seeing all 3 of your kids sardined in the living room, you guys got this nice room. I just don't think this is right. I think there's something going on here.
And in the same breath, when I see her post this, I saw it earlier in the story, I read it one way before I knew about her history, and after knowing about the monster, I read this quite differently now. Quote, "Y'all, my hubby said that if I can take our account viral and change our financial situation, he'll hump away and give me as many babies as I want. So help a girl out, share, follow, and help my account so I can make this man a father of 7. Yes, it is totally irresponsible for her to even think about having more kids until she has the financial ability built up and maintained for several years and adequate housing. That's my opinion, to be able to afford and provide for those kids. Anything less, I think, would be negligent. But when I read that, you know, the quote, "My hubby said if I can take our account viral," as if he has do with all of the work she puts in on the account, and that he promises bedroom relations when we know she's craving literally any form of validation from him, that reads like abuse to me. And when you pair it with her feeling rewarded by having more babies that permanently attach her to him, it's alarming. And this sparked this thing with me.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about it like that.
Impregnate their partners in order to force them to stay trapped at home, caring for the kids so that they can go out and burn through the money and enjoy their freedom. This is something called reproductive coercive abuse, and I wonder if this plays a role in what Drew is doing. And I also wanted to bring this up in case any of you feel like you might be experiencing something like this, but didn't know that there was a term for this. Quote, RCA refers to a range of behaviors such as pressure, manipulation, emotional blackmail, trickery, threats, and the use of various kinds of abuse to dictate a person's reproductive choices or interfere with their reproductive autonomy. RCA can include physical, psychological, sexual, emotional, or financial abuse designed to either promote or prevent pregnancy. And when I heard her mother say this, it made me think that perhaps the monster also did this to Stephanie, and she's living in a pattern that she's not even aware of.
My first reaction to her pregnancy was, of course, I was thrilled that my daughter was having a baby, but I could not believe she would be giving him a child.
Genuinely hate that she phrased it, giving him a child, as if that was Stephanie's fault or that the guy didn't have something to do with this. I don't even know if Stephanie was being abused when she got pregnant. I don't even know if that pregnancy was the result of something forced. I don't know. We don't know.
And I tried really hard. I came up from California to be here when the baby was born, and there was a lot of things going on in the hospital room that really made him angry that I got involved, that Stephanie wanted things done a certain way, and he kept telling her, no, we're going to do it this way. And I'm like, you know, for God's sake, she's the one having a child here. Why don't you just back off? And so he used that to tell Stephanie that I wasn't a good person to be in her life anymore. That began Stephanie and I not talking during that marriage.
A phrase Stephanie repeats a lot in her videos is, you never know what someone is going through. From my very limited knowledge, we all have very limited knowledge, I believe that Stephanie has been in an abusive cycle that went from one monster to Drew. Again, there's no excuse for them making these sweet, innocent kids their collateral damage, and I damn sure won't make excuses for the things she's done and what we're going to get to, but we know that abusive experiences can heavily shape someone's behaviors, and what if, in her mind, through this trauma, desperate times call for unsafe measures? What then? What do we do then? How do we approach these topics? So let's zoom out for a moment beyond this story. We're going to set the story aside for a quick second because I know a lot of you watching are survivors, and I know a lot of you have been shamed for not leaving your harmful partner or, you know, letting it happen to you and all that BS. I've been shamed since I was a child for the things that happened to me, and I know a lot of you have kids and you try everything in your power to shield them from seeing your pain. We wear those trauma masks like second skin, don't we? TheHotline.org has an article titled Why People Stay in Abusive Relationships, which lists many reasons like, quote, fear. A person will likely be afraid of the consequences if they decide to leave their relationship. This could be fear of their partner's actions or concern over their own ability to be independent.
Damn,
Reason
this just
2,
got deep.
normalized abuse. If someone grew up in an environment where abuse was common, they may not know what healthy relationships look like. As a result, they may not recognize that their partner's behaviors are unhealthy or abusive. Reason 3, shame. It can be difficult for someone to admit that they've been or are being harmed. They may feel that they've done something wrong and that they deserve the harm, or that experiencing the harm is a sign of weakness. Reason 4, low self-esteem. After experiencing verbal harm or blame for physical abuse, it can be easy for survivors to believe those sentiments. They may believe that they are at fault for their partner's harmful behaviors. Reason 5, lack of resources. Reason 6, children. Many survivors feel guilt or responsible for disrupting their family unit. Keeping the family together may not only be something that a survivor may value, but may also be used as a tactic by their partner to guilt a survivor into staying. And it also might be a form of survival. And I know that might sound confusing. Well, why would you stay in the relationship? You have kids. That's dangerous for everyone. Sometimes leaving with the kids enrages the partner to the point we have seen it happen. We've seen partners, particularly men, hunt the women down and end their lives. Or the kids.
True.
Yeah.
Watching my daughter make decisions to stay with a man who clearly does not care about her, doesn't care about those children, continues to bring her down, keeps her from even having the sense to reach out to her family and ask for help. I know you watch her videos and you see, oh gosh, she really hates her mom. There's really, you know, I'm not convinced she hates her mom. I'm convinced she knows that I'm the one person who could rescue her, who could set her straight, who could help her come to her senses, and she's too scared to reach out to me. It's hard when you are living in the type of relationship that she's in. I've seen it firsthand. I worked as a denounce advocate. I know it doesn't happen overnight. I haven't said a lot because I don't want my words to get twisted and for it to drive an even deeper wedge between me and Stephanie. I hope at some point our relationship can be reconciled and we can move past this. I am here for Stephanie.
That's sad.
But make no mistake, I have absolutely no room
This is
in my heart, in my home,
Caitlin.
or
No,
anywhere
this
in
is
my,
Swoop.
I can't even go there. Drew's not welcome here. He's not welcome here.
If
I don't know
you're
who
in a
Caitlyn
healthy
is, sorry.
relationship or are recovering from one, I first want you to know it is not
Or
your
Caitlyn.
fault.
I don't know if it's Caitlyn
Really,
or Caitlyn.
it is not your fault. This shame is not yours, and it never will be. And I've linked free resources where you can reach out anonymously for help because you are valid, you are worthy, and you deserve healing. And I believe that you can have it. Let's continue.
Damn, she just had to drop that real quick. Drop them resource links.
One of the main reasons why the resilient Jenkins have rose to TikTok stardom with over 35 million views just last month alone and the money flowing in is because of something truly awful that's happened for the kids. And this is why people are really tuning in. And believe it or not, it wasn't the vlogging or the fleas or even the 7 people in a 1-bedroom apartment that made them viral TikTok stars. The actual reason that people were tuning in has to do with them not paying rent. They hadn't paid rent for 2 months and they got evicted. So now they have to move 7 people and multiple cats, except wait, they chuck the cats. More on that in a moment.
So as I'm sure you're well aware now, everyone and their brother has made it their business that we're being evicted and we have a move-out date in less than a month.
But Stephanie constantly does this thing where she begs for views and then they berate her viewers for watching. Again, this is why you shouldn't shove a camera in your kid's face every day and profit off of their living situation. But the moment they get evicted, she condemns people for making it their business when she made it millions of people's business for years, and now she's making big business because they got evicted.
There's definitely a point in my life where I gave everybody some negative energy. I've since then worked on myself and I really don't like doing it. I find so much more peace on just focusing on my family and focusing on my growth. If you want to have your opinion on us, you can have that opinion. Let's take a quick moment for the first thing that baby girl was wrapped in when she was born in the car, her daddy's jacket. Let's say thank you to all of our supporters and you're welcome to all of our haters.
So after thanking her haters and berating people for being tuned into their eviction, Stephanie does the next logical thing in the path towards privacy and stops vlogging her kids. Oh wait, no, she doesn't do that. Wait, let me check my notes. All right, yeah. Instead of doing that, she does the opposite. Stephanie starts posting a countdown about moving out. Here's a montage.
We got 19 days until move-out date. Yeah, you heard that right, 19 days. So here's to one of the last Sunday resets in our home before we move. 18 days until move-out date, and we've yet to be accepted into a new place yet. In fact, one of the first places that we put an application in for came back with the result really quick and denied us because of a bankruptcy on my record. That being said, we still don't qualify income-wise for anything more than a 2-bedroom. The maximum capacity for most 2-bedrooms is 5 people, and we have 7. Of course, it would be incredibly ideal to be in a 3 or 4 bedroom, but income-wise, we still can't afford that.
So I could be wrong, but it sounds like with all the income that they are currently making, they can afford a 2-bedroom, but the max capacity for a 2-bedroom is 5 people. She then goes on to discuss Drew not working at all.
I'm quite frankly sick of seeing comments about y'all acting like this is just on Drew and he's some kind of deadbeat. He didn't just hourly quit working just because I started making money on social media. Back when Drew was working his W-2 jobs, he had a tremendous health decline, and that is why we made the choice to start doing self-employment. And when it seems like the right time, we'll open up to our community about those health issues. Okay, bye-bye now.
Now, I don't know if these health ailments she's alluding to are him saying working at W-2 gave him pre-diabetes like he did earlier, which isn't even diabetes, or I don't know what's going on, but most people online aren't labeling him as a deadbeat dad randomly. He literally has 4 kids with 3 women, abandoned one of those kids at the age of 2, has evaded child support, refuses regular employment because he doesn't like it, refuses regular employment because he doesn't want to pay the child support, and expects Stephanie to do all the child care, housekeeping, and earn all the money. That might be why they've come up with that phrase. Now, Stephanie's mother, Reese, has offered for her to move and the kids into her home, give them some proper, better shelter, but Stephanie has flat out turned it down.
It's move-out day tomorrow, and in case you didn't catch on, we did not find a place, so we will be going to a hotel and getting a storage unit. And no, I will not be taking my mom up on her offer on me and my kids going to stay with her. That is just not gonna happen. That lady popping up right now, it sickens me, honestly. And that's all I'm saying about that, because a part of me that's healed on everything that she brought on my past just does not want to spend any time on her. She gets absolutely no time of day from me. And that is for me to decide. It's not up to a bunch of strangers to decide what I should and shouldn't forget from a past you weren't even there for.
Again, I don't know what's going on. I think maybe it would be better for the kids to be in that house than where they moved to, but Stephanie, she makes up her mind she's going to stick with it.
Now let's get back to this movie. I mean, I did not give credit to how sore I was going to be trying to do this 6-7 weeks postpartum. Not to mention the mental strain that also has on me. But it is what it is and life goes on and we have to keep going, so that's what we're doing.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack in this video. For a bit of perspective, there's a real societal problem with poverty and housing, and it's situations like this that lead to people becoming unhoused. It's a vicious cycle, struggling to make ends meet, then evicted, then can't qualify for available apartments. So what are the options? It is awful out there for so many people. And like Stephanie said, a lot of the housing resources are completely overburdened. So even the systems that are designed to help people are failing. And that's just how the Jenkins ended up moving 7 people into a motel.
So it's officially been a week homeless as a family of 7, and so far we're navigating it pretty well, I'd like to say. Okay, hold up, I just played that back, and that sounds way better than when I was trying to do it in the bathroom with everybody in the hotel room. That was not working. Okay, let's get back to it. Like I said, we've been navigating it pretty well. We've just been keeping to our pretty normal routine. I mean, it is currently spring break, and that's definitely added some chaos to it, but it is what it is. I actually enjoy having babies with me.
But they didn't exactly adjust their routines from moving into their temporary housing, which led to some dangerous setups that, again, jeopardized the safety of the kids and the whole family.
My mind is blown.
Eric was back
Jessica,
on.
why is there a tail hanging from the ceiling? The only reason there would be a tail hanging from a ceiling is to cover up the smoke detector. So you're covering the smoke detector, I think, and then you are using a deep fryer right next to all of these outlets. Why not an air fryer? Does this woman know how fast a deep fryer with hot oil in a 1-bedroom hotel with 7 small children could turn into a literal disaster in seconds next to all these outlets? This is terrifying.
And now about the cats. Brace yourselves. If
Oh,
you're
God.
anything like me and love animals with your whole entire chest, this will make you furious.
They killed him. They left him behind. Sorry, my mind went to murdered the cats.
As we've seen time and time again, the Jenkins priorities are often questionable at best because while they couldn't part with their PS5, they did part with something much more precious. Their cats. And when I say part, I mean they straight up abandoned them and called animal control on them. I wish I was f***ing joking, and I am so livid about this. So if you need to skip this chapter and go to the next, I completely understand. It will be time-stamped on the video. I will see you in a bit in the next chapter. I have tried to give grace to the Jenkins in a way that I haven't really seen covered and discuss the large old societal factors at play here that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But if it's not bad enough that these children live in these conditions with cameras in their faces, when it appears that Drew in particular is doing everything in his power to avoid working to provide a safer situation, Stephanie is now stepping into a new role. Animal. Shifting my perspective on this family yet again.
What's up, Grim
A lot of people
Reaper?
wanted to know how many cats the Jenkins actually had. They had a total of 4. This one was named Jasper. This one is a female. I don't know her name. I've never heard Stephanie say this cat's name in her videos. And this is poor Onyx. Onyx has been missing. I know a lot of people keep trying to find him, but as of right now, I don't think that there is an update that anybody has found this poor cat yet. And we all know Milo. She had Milo since he was a kitten, and this poor cat was actually thrown out a month before the Jenkins got evicted. And Stephanie Jenkins was all smiles. This is the day that they drove away after they've been evicted and after they dumped all 4 of their cats.
Animal harm is one of the lowest,
Wow.
most vile forms of evil.
What's the live about? Right now we're just listening to this video. Usually we're just chilling, smoking, talking, hanging out, but right now we're just listening to this. We're still talking, but yeah. Chat's just dead. Just me and Pav, I guess.
What happened? Stephanie made a ton of content with her cats, featuring their, bedraggled toys, the filth they lived in, and one cat, Milo's untreated skin condition. It was terrible. It's like the cats were treated like cute little props instead of the actual living beings that they are. The apartment was infested with lice and fleas.
You listen here, you walking pile of panic attack. You're gonna inhale, exhale your way through this if it's the last thing you do.
And then Stephanie posted a video about having to rehome the cats because they can't afford them. Quote, the reality of being flat broke is knowing you can't do about your kids' cat's skin infection other than
Trying to find him, but as of right now, I don't think that there's an update that anybody has found this poor cat yet.
And we all know Milo. She had Milo since he was a kitten, and this poor cat was actually thrown out a month before the Jenkins got evicted. And Stephanie Jenkins was all smiles. This is the day that they drove away
I
after
am
they'd
so
been evicted
confused.
and after they dumped all 4 of their cats.
Animal harm is one of the lowest, most vile forms of evil, in my opinion, coupled with the fact
Type
that her
shit.
behavior is imprinting on her children, where they will likely carry a
Sure.
new wave of generational trauma, all because
I don't
they
know
couldn't
what
be
you
bothered
mean,
to care
Pav.
for the
You
pets
lost
that
me with
they
that one.
chose to bring
I don't know
into
what the
family in
youngsters
the
be
first
saying
place.
these
So,
days.
what happened? Stephanie made a ton of content with her cats, featuring their, bedraggled toys, the filth they lived in, and one cat, Milo's untreated skin condition. It was terrible. It's like the cats were treated like cute little props instead of the actual living beings that they are. The apartment was infested with lice and fleas.
Now you listen here, you walking pile of panic attack. You're gonna inhale, exhale your way through this if it's the last thing you do.
And then Stephanie posted a video about having to rehome the cats because they can't afford them. Quote, "The reality of being flat broke is knowing you can't do about your kids' cat's skin infection other than rehome the animal to someone more financially able to handle it. Why do I have to take my baby's baby? I really don't want to." First of all, you know what I did when I couldn't afford to have a cat? I didn't get a cat. It's really that fucking simple. And I think most of you know, I have a breather through this because, wow, I think most of you know that I am a mom to 4 cats. I rescued a pregnant cat who was living in a burned down building. I named her Bill Farrell. I brought her
Bill
in to give her a safe place to give birth with the goal of finding her and her 6 babies forever loving homes. And to do that, I called an animal rescue center and worked with them on vetting applicants and getting their proper shots and flea meds, getting them dewormed, spayed, neutered. And that was all provided free by the shelter when I fostered them. This is an arrangement that a lot of shelters will do. So I had FaceTime calls with the applicants and met each one in person. I even took Mama Bill to her forever home and spent some time with her.
Mama
there,
Bill.
her new mama. And she was living it up, okay?
Wedding
That
Christina.
girl got the lavish luxury come up of the century in that home. It literally had even like a huge cat
Bill
sunroom.
Farrell.
It was incredible. But
She
because all
named
the
her
kittens
Bill
were
Farrell.
solid black and people in this country are really weird about black cats, they didn't all get adopted right away. And eventually, after like quite a bit of time went by, they just, they were just so bonded that I was like, okay, come to mama, you're home. Now, maybe someone's financial situation changes or their health situation changes. Those types of things happen. So is it responsible to try to find a good home for the cats in those scenarios? Yes, it is. But is that what Stephanie did? Absolutely not. Because not a month after that,
At least you're here.
they got a new cat. I'd like to read the caption she posted. Quote, "Poor hubby, just another responsibility to add to our daily routine, but we love little critter in this house, and we love bringing whatever kind of joy we can to our kids. So if it means taking on the responsibility of another cat, I think we got this." And then, when they got evicted, what did they do? They abandoned all the cats. I am so effing done with these people.
After debating for some time, we decided we will not have indoor cats when we move. Prior to me and Drew getting together, I had one cat and he had one cat. The cat that he had was a stray that came in from outside, and the cat that I had was a cat that I received from a friend. Becoming a family, we brought in 2 other stray cats. So at one point, we did have 4 cats in this apartment.
4 cats, 5 kids, 2 adults in their 1-bedroom apartment. The kids often slept on the flea-infested floor by the front door, and Drew and Stephanie slept in the nice big bed in the bedroom. I cannot, in this moment, have a lot of compassion right now. I've given it earlier, and right now I'm pissed.
That seriously did not last long, not even more than a couple of weeks. And then my cat Conscious, who's always been a free spirit, wanted to go outside, and so we let her do so. It's always been my opinion that if you have cats and they act like they want to go outside, let them outside. They're animals. And I don't mean for that to sound any bit insensitive. To me, it seems like you're doing the cat a disfavor when they're asking to go outside. That's where they want to be happy, and you're not letting them go.
Wrong. And there she goes again, trying to spin abandoning the cats as letting them be free spirits.
Honest, as much as we love our fur babies, they sure do mess up the inside. I won't miss waking up to cat hair all over my counters.
Claiming that they love their fur babies, but won't miss their cat hair on the counters after discarding them like literal trash is the f***ing work of the devil.
And yes, I am aware that's probably more than likely why we dealt with a flea issue to begin with. We just wanted our kids to experience having their fur babies inside and the colors they wanted. But we feel now it's just the best interest in all of our family members to have them just be outdoor kitties. That does not mean we just stick them outside and not take care of them. Our cats still get plenty of cuddles and they get fed every day. But this way, they get to be the free spirits they like to be outside, and we can go about preventing some of the damages that cats bring to a home, as well as all the cat hair. But we always still love our fur babies.
This woman lied to the world, trying to make it sound like the only thing that changed is that their cats were outdoor cats, but were still theirs. Let me say this again. Stephanie and Drew abandoned the cats. She didn't take them to a shelter. She didn't rehome them. She put them outside and left them. And she didn't stop there. Listen to this.
I wasn't able to find any family or friends to take them while we try to figure this whole situation out. It's freaking sad, and I don't think many people are going to understand it, but I had to make the decision of actually calling animal control back myself and asking them to take the cats because I don't want these fur babies actually to be abandoned. That's the last thing I freaking want. And again, I don't know if that's something my mom has mentioned. Oh, I'll take the cats. I don't give two. I'm not dealing with it.
She fucking called animal control on her cats. That's literally like calling an executioner on your family. Animal control, most likely, in most situations, and I have talked to animal control in the past, would literally euthanize these precious animals, especially after seeing Milo's condition.
You can hate on me for abandoning cats because I'm going to freaking hate on myself for that for the rest of my life. I wish that I could have done something different. I wish to God that I would have had another avenue to take. And
She did. She said her mom could have taken them.
I'm going to say this, I rarely do this, but I mean this with all the disrespect. Fuck off. Fuck off with this part of the story. There's no excuse for this. You guys are out here, in my opinion, exploiting the kids. You refuse to get a job, Drew. Take gifts from well-meaning people online and then berate them when you don't have your way. You don't pay child support for the kid you abandoned. You don't take accountability for the things you can control. Don't pay your rent while managing to pay for video games. Abandon your other kid while trolling his mother online, which he will see one day. And now you've abandoned 4 defenseless, scared, hungry, beautiful little cats who only wanted to love you. I have overextended myself trying to present the perspectives I didn't see much of online and give compassion to them as human beings, because I do
literally
believe we need more compassion in this world. Even if you don't agree with somebody, you see things differently, or people do things that you just think are awful, I still think people deserve compassion, especially when I hear about very sad, tragic pasts that someone has, like Stephanie. But Stephanie couldn't even find an ounce of compassion for those small, innocent creatures. Now, there is some good news here. Thankfully, Milo, the cat with the skin condition, was found by a viewer who literally went there to look for the abandoned cats and started a GoFundMe to help with his vet care, treats, and healthy foods. I'm blurring his tiny little body here because his condition is truly unsettling, and I don't want to show that. But look how cute his little face is. Stephanie and Drew let this poor angel suffer for a very long time for his skin to look like that, and I am so happy that he is in safer hands right now. This kind soul is posting health updates and he's looking better and better. And Stephanie's story keeps changing, which I don't even care anymore. Like, you should never be allowed to have pets again. And I fear even more for the safety of those kids when I see you treat animals this
She
way.
said she called animal control herself to come get the cats, but yet a viewer went and found one of the cats.
The responsibility thing, you know what I'm saying. But thankfully, according to this tech talk, it seems like all cats have now found homes, thank God.
All the resilient Jenkins cats have been found. This is Teddy, aka Onyx. Teddy showed up at an elderly couple's house that took their cat and Jasper a year ago.
Stephanie was cited by Animal Services, $100 for each of the cats they abandoned, and they cannot have animals for 2 years.
So we received 3 citations for the cats that we quote-unquote abandoned.
Quote-unquote abandoned the cats. Zero accountability there. And then she somehow manages to make herself the victim of the situation because it's everyone else's fault the cats were abandoned.
We don't have anything to do with these cats at this point. We can't find resources. The resources or the people who have reached out to me haven't been legitimate about it because, let's be honest, you weren't serious about helping until it could bring clout to you.
Then she waffles back and forth about them being her cats, but they were just strays, but they were hers, but they were strays.
So I said, we can't keep them. We have to let them back out. Are we really held accountable for these cats that we can't keep anymore? And she said, technically, no. If it was a stray you took in and you're letting him back out into the wild, that's not on you. So why I have 2 citations for 2 strays, I don't know.
False. First of all, it's against the law to abandon your cats in nearly all 50 states. Quote, a person commits the crime of animal abandonment if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly, or with criminal negligence leaves a domesticated animal at a location without providing for that animal's continued care. Animal abandonment is a Class C misdemeanor punishable by up to $1,000 fine and or 30 days in jail. And I've also read in some other states that the punishment can be up to $10,000 fine and literal years in jail. And then Stephanie did something even I didn't expect. She attacked the woman who rescued Milo and called her a thief. Let's read this together, shall we? Quote, just know this, the lady who has Milo is no hero. She's a thief, an awful human. My daughter asks about her cat all the time, and I know your bitter arse wouldn't even give her cat back if we asked, and that's proof right there why you did it again, making herself the victim of her own crime, and now using her child, bring your kid into this to do it while attacking the woman who saved Milo's life because you threw him out like trash. Number 1, you're not legally allowed to have a cat for the next 2 years. Number 2, your daughter asking about her cat is your fault for abandoning the cat. Number 3, the fact that you're saying you know this woman wouldn't give Milo back if you asked tells me you haven't even asked. And number 4, you don't deserve to have animals, and your daughter will figure that out one day and have to process what you did. Let's move on.
Damn, she struck her hard.
Okay, I'm going to unwind from that last chapter. Thank you for letting me have a moment. As we saw earlier, as a result of the eviction and subsequent doxing, Arleta, Drew's ex, was able to have the sheriff serve Drew with a subpoena to show up to court regarding child support payments. The court date was April 7th, 10:15 a.m. And as a surprise to everyone, Drew showed up to a hospital, not the courthouse. Yes, coincidentally, Drew had a medical emergency, so he couldn't attend the court date he's been trying to avoid for 7 to 10 years.
Drew Jenkins is in the hospital. The dad of the resilient Jenkins just posted a video of himself in a hospital bed. It is unknown at this time if there is a warrant out for Drew. But if the judge doesn't buy this ER trip...
So the chatter online is that the health scare is all fake. We don't know. To make matters worse, Drew is putting himself and his family at risk if he does have a warrant out for his arrest. Here's what Drew posted. Quote, hey everyone, I'm not behind bars like I'm sure people thought I would be. I guess I had a 2 to 3 minute seizure and I didn't come to until I got to the hospital. We don't know the cause except I was a couple of hours late taking my heart medication. I hit my head on the wall and ended up with a few goose eggs. Okay, so sorry to hear that, Drew. So sorry to hear that. What a coinky dink. And, again, did something happen to him? We don't know. I don't think we're ever going to know. But, a 2 to 3 minute seizure is incredibly serious. But the confusing thing is, he said he didn't come to until he was at the hospital, but your own wife said, as she's, I think, presumably sitting outside the hospital, that you were openly interacting with the paramedics and that the paramedics thought he was using or faking it.
And this morning, when my maid was interacting with the paramedics, why are you instantly assuming that this has to do with some kind of substance abuse? Why are you instantly assuming that he's faking it? And why are you calling him old when he's 35? Not an old man yet. And then just to sit there and act like I don't know my own man that I've been with for 3 years. And I'm telling you, he's not acting himself. He's not acting himself.
Okay, so crazy timing, right? Wild. Now, I'm not going to analyze his medical stuff, but there is a lot of information about the seriousness of someone having a first-time seizure for 2 to 3 minutes, if you want to look it up. And of course, there's a lot of medical people who have come out and said that, having a seizure at 35 out of nowhere like that, without a history of it, if you're a medical professional, you can enter the chat. Again, I'm not going to speculate on the health. The main point here is that Drew missed his court date. And because he had a legitimate excuse, according to the court date got moved a month or so down the road, so can't wait for that. Now, at the time of upload, the Jenkins are still in a motel. Shockingly, Drew has a whole gaming setup in a single room hotel room and is also now on TikTok. Got deleted, then comes back. Stephanie is running a subscription plan.
I very much could set the price point to a lot higher each month. I'm not that person. I'm not about that. And that's not even why I wanted to start building a subscriber community to begin with. You're only paying $5.99 a month. I'm not going to respond to 8 comments a day.
And the clincher, a rough estimate of their TikTok earnings came out somewhere roughly, maybe possibly between $7,000 to $15,000 a month. So congrats. Congrats. All that time, energy, and vlogging, the kiddos finally paid off. Listen, I don't know where the story is headed next. I try to give the family the benefit of the doubt in more ways than, again, I generally see people giving, and I understand where they're coming from, and I'm just trying to give a, perspective and some counterpoint. But at the end of the day, we're not there in the motel. I don't know if the parents will ever take responsibility for the things they can control. So all I can do at this point is hope that those kids will find a way to a happy, healthy life, camera free, and that Stephanie and Drew never again have a cat.
Yeah, seriously, definitely not the cat.
A lot to unpack. I do think we need a healthy dose of a kitty palate cleanser with the billing department that are the 4 wonderful.
That was a lot. Some McDonald's economics. funny. I'm probably gonna end this and get right back on, guys. I'll probably be on here in just a few minutes. Especially in current moderate inflation, people are comfortable spending a lone dollar on entertainment because it doesn't do much else. That's so true. But alright, Pav, are you able to hop on the new one here in a few minutes? Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Bye.